All right, there we go. See if you guys can hear me okay. Maybe able to hear me a little too okay. Maybe? Let's see. Hopefully that's pretty good. Trying to make sure that the music's balanced because I can't sidechain this one. What I wanted to say is this is a non-traditional stream, so in advance I want to welcome anybody who happens to pop up to this stream, as it's going to be a couple of things that our normal streams aren't. Firstly, it's not going to be gaming-centric for just today, and it's not feeling tip-top, and so I want to make sure to give some time to her and speak with her and see how she's doing, and make sure I'm with her, spend that time with her. Retro Gaming Hero 26 says, hello you guys, good to see you again, long time no see. It's good to see you as well, Retro Gaming Hero. I have been leaving likes on some of your videos. I haven't left any comments. I do apologize as things have been hectic, so I haven't really been super fast I haven't taken the time to slow down rather and leave comments, and so I apologize. But I will certainly do that. But yeah, Anna wasn't feeling tip-top, so I want to make sure that I'm giving her time as well, and so this stream's going to be a little bit more brief than my other ones. The second thing I wanted to do is this one is more tech-focused. I'm just going to kind of give you guys an update on some of the things that I'm working on, as well as an update on what I'm using now, because almost everything I'm using either costs nothing, or it has a one-time, very cheap fee, and you still get great, high quality out of it. But you saw my videos. Which ones did you see? I saw a couple of them, actually. I saw the stream you did earlier today, which was brief, but I saw it after you had finished doing it. And then, of course, I saw one of the gameplay videos, and then I saw a response video a little while back as well to another YouTuber, the thumbnail with the clown on it. I saw that one as well. I'm not... I wasn't really at liberty to comment on that one. I don't really know the issue well enough, but I did see it, and so yeah. But yeah, I know I'm keeping track. I definitely keep check on everybody and get to see their content too, because it tells me how my content can improve, be it equipment or entertainment or people. So no, I definitely keep an eye on everything going on. I really like I said, I like to see fellow content creators. It's really refreshing to get to see what's going on in their worlds. I know what's going on in mine, so. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about when it comes to tech. A lot of it is just going to be pretty basic stuff. It's going to be, there'll be software, we'll be talking about the software that I'm using. We'll talk about some of the hardware I'm using. We'll talk about stuff that doesn't cost anything. We'll talk about stuff that doesn't cost a lot. And we'll kind of see what we can do to help, trade, hopefully, information when it comes to what can make a top streaming setup. And like I said, this one's not going to have any live camera or anything. It's all going to be done virtual. It's all going to be done here on the video. And so, you know, kind of pardon the somewhat more, or I guess less personal sense of this. It's not meant to be. I was talking about a YouTuber. If you don't know who he is. Yeah, I saw that that you had some choice things to say. I can't make a comment on that. I was interested in seeing your take on things, but I can't make a comment as A, I don't know him, and B, I don't know the situation between the two of you. But when you see somebody that's that upset, obviously it's one of those things where you're a little bit interested, if not for morbid curiosity, to figure out, you know, what's going on over there. I'm not the most dramatic YouTuber, so I'm from a part of the U.S. where your skin is thick because of hot weather and everything else. I mean, people will say some awful things about you down here. Nobody's afraid to speak their minds, even if it's incredibly unflattering. And so, you know, down here we just kind of, I'm not gonna say because you know, no one should have to, but I just grin and bear it. I've gotten to a point where I don't really care too much if people have bad things to say about me. It's going to take more of their time than it is mine, and it's certainly going to bother them more than it's going to bother me. So it doesn't bother me too much. Usually the only time I would take time to correct something is if an accusation of my having done something wrong was levied, in which case I'll take time to pointedly rebuke that, you know, if somebody says that. But I don't think I've ever had any. I usually keep my hands pretty darn clean so that even an accusation made, you know, everyone would know it was an allegation, not an accusation. You know, I don't do a whole lot of. I don't reach out. I don't call names. I'm not that interested in being rude. I'm not that interested in name calling. You know, that kind of stuff. I'm not interested in having it done to me either. But if it is, yeah, whatever. It's not the end of my world. But what's lucky is since I've been on YouTube, I've surrounded myself with really good people, and I think that that's a choice. But I also think that there are a lot of just great people on YouTube. Let's see here. We'll just do. That's fine. Boop. And to give some choice people that I have gotten to speak with, of course, Retro Gaming Hero 26. You've always been very kind to me. I'm sorry I'm having to click on updates and such too. And then, of course, I've got some really great people out there that I've gotten to speak with and meet with. Cases in point are my 4 horsemen, and I say my 4 horsemen as I hope that I can be some confidant to them. But those are Ash. He was originally AR Video Games, AR Plays Games. I think it's just Ash or Ash Plays Games right now. So I apologize, Ash, if you see this after the fact, but he's awesome. Had the pleasure of getting to speak with him. Of course, Omega Ace Gaming. I think anybody that's ever come in contact with him has known he's a super, super nice, just easy to get along with guy. Vidi from Video Games or Video Games for Fun used to be. Also, super amazing, genuine individual. And I haven't gotten to speak with him in a while. It's a little bit of a shame because I believe that that's probably almost entirely my fault. But also Thumb, you know, the Thumb Brothers, who is hilarious, and I love his stuff. He's a great gamer and speedrunner and all kinds of good stuff. So I've gotten to meet some really good people here, and there are tons and tons of other people, and I get to meet more almost every stream. So I don't care about if people make videos on me anymore because they're disgusting and they're not worth investing. You know, that's the thing about it. I don't. This is just me. I don't even go so far as to say that they're disgusting. My opinion is completely neutral, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. You obviously you need to have your opinion. You got to have your opinion. That's what's important, and that's what should matter. But I'm just talking about for me. I mean, I'm almost completely neutral when it comes to it. What I do whenever somebody says something about me, it usually for me goes into three simple phases. Number one, if they're making an accusation of against me as a person, not necessarily that I've done something bad, but maybe that I am something bad, am I really giving any sort of vibe that might jive with what they're saying? You know, am I really a bad person? Game Talk. Goodness, Ash, I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting, and I've gone through your names, and I was just talking about how great you were, and I failed to say Game Talk. I'm so sorry. It's going well. I apologize. But sorry, to get to RGH's question, to your statement. For me, it's really three things. Like, if you're going to make a video about me saying that I am, or levying something against me that I am something bad, am I giving off any vibes that say that I actually am? Am I contributing to fuel to your fire? If I can't look at myself critically or have other people look at me and say that I am, then number two, what might motivate them to do that outside of what I have control of? And then phase three is recognizing either I do have control of the situation and I can improve myself, or I didn't have control of the situation and someone was upset at me. And then the last thing I do is gain control of the situation. If I am doing something bad, I make improvements to not be bad anymore, or not to give that off as a vibe. And if I can't control the situation, then I make a choice to respond or not respond, but either way with dignity and sophistication, because the more that I do that, the less people are really going to believe whatever this other person's saying if I am showing that I'm truly a dignified person and that I am polite and that I'm not wanting to feed into that. So it's always in my control at the end of the day. Either I am going to improve the thing that they are accusing me of being bad at and that I've found that I actually am bad at, or I'm going to realize that I don't necessarily have that same flaw, and I'm going to make sure that my actions from that point on are well controlled. So that's just me. That's the way I look at it, is either way I get control, but it's where I need to make those changes in that control that I'm going to, But that's just me. Like I said, that may not work for everybody. That's just what I like to do. I like to have control of myself and the circumstances that surround me. So, but yeah, I'm sorry, Ash. I'm sorry, Game Talk. I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Anna isn't feeling tip-top today, so I thought I'd go through some of the changes and updates, things that I'm doing, and hopefully showing some stuff. I'm going to go back. I did about a year ago, maybe even a little longer now. Maybe it's been 2 years. I can't remember if it's 2020 or 2021. I did a tech stream, and it was really fun, and it helped out, I think, a few people. Some people have watched it, and I remember during it I was getting some commentary on what people thought and all that kind of good stuff. And now I want to go through and kind of update that. I'm not feeling great either. Weird day, just feel ill. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope. Is it just like sinuses? Does it feel like it could be the what everybody is now calling the vid? The C19 or any of that, or does it just feel like just kind of off? I mean, you don't have to get into detail, obviously, if you don't want to, but it's, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I know we just got over being sick. Even still, we feel the remnants of it, but it was like a severe sinus infection, ear infections, that kind of thing. I actually even switched the earbuds that I use because of the ear infections. I think that the earbuds that I had so much of a vacuum seal that they were contributing to ear infections. So I traded them for Galaxy Buds Live, the little beans, and I really like the little beans. They actually fit really nice, and they don't make a vacuum seal. I'm just going back and forth. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I saw your vote. I did cast a vote, and then I felt awful when I casted the vote because I had cast the vote, and it happened that at that time, only one other person had casted a vote, which I think you had posted it fairly recently. And I cast my vote on the opposite side, so it made it 50-50, and I'm like, I'm sorry. It's what I really believe, but, streaming's awesome. I really like streaming. The big thing so I really want to get back into doing videos as well, but it's just there's so much time. Videos are more time-consuming, but you have so much more control over the humor, and the visual humor is on the fly. You can make the audio sound tip-top, and I'm actually going to go over some of the stuff that I'm using to do my streaming today, most of which is free or incredibly inexpensive. Yeah, I've done some gameplay videos on my channel. I'm planning on doing more really soon. I did see the Kingdom Hearts. I did see that. So yeah, I mean, it's good stuff. And like I said, if you want, I mean, you know what you're doing. You've got 600 and something followers, which is amazing, and congratulations on that. What I'm trying to do here is offer some of what I'm using, if it may be entangled in your routine to improve something that you have. Vice versa, if I have something way off, maybe you can tell me what you do that is better. So it's just kind of an improvement stream where I show what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and then you might, have a different recommendation. Most of what I'm doing now also is free or incredibly inexpensive, and so like that's another thing. I was spending so much when I started my channel 6 years ago, I think now it's been, or just about. When I started the channel about that far back, I was using the Adobe Suite and everything. And I talked about it back when I made the switch, which was like 10 months ago, or maybe even a year ago now. And I've been using it, and I love it. And it's just, and none of it, like I said, I'm not paying a monthly fee for any of it. I think for a couple of things I paid a one-time fee, but I think the biggest one-time fee I paid was like $15. Now the equipment, that's expensive, but I also put the alternatives that I bought, and I bought for cheaper. And man, I tell you, pawn shops are amazing. I stand by that. They still are to this day, always carrying goods. I have a pawn shop right now. It's carrying an Aston Spirit microphone, which is a microphone I really love, and they're carrying it for like $100, and I think it normally is like $250, so, or $200, so half off. So that's all I'm looking to do is kind of, I'm not going to be pretentious and say I can improve anyone's stream, but if people are looking to start streaming or work on different things and they don't want to spend a ton of money and they don't want to have a whole bunch of setup and they don't want to have a huge learning curve, I'm hoping that this will help with that. Because it doesn't, most of the stuff I have here is actually super solid. Really, really good stuff. So I'm going to switch over really quickly to my my PC, and I think I did please forgive me if it goes to the wrong screen. You know what? I can click it. I'll just click it. It's right here. Boop. And you can see my computer screen. I have my commentary over here on another monitor. It's not necessary to have multiple monitors, but I do. And I leave my mouse so you can see it, because I'm going to be clicking on stuff, and I want you guys to be able to see that. So I'm just direct from PS5 and a PS5 camera right now, so that's all I need. That's fair. No, that's fair. There's no need to make major changes on it if it works. Like, that's the big thing. I don't know, so that's the other thing. I don't know anything about streaming direct from a console. Because I assume that I could figure it out, but I've never done it. So, that's something that I could absolutely look to learn. And yet again, this isn't trying to change anybody's setup to say mine is superior, because it's certainly not. I mean, there's 1,001 things that I could be probably improving on. It's as much to help me figure out where I've got kinks in the armor and so on and so forth, as it is to show some really cool stuff to people who may want to use the tools I'm using. And this all looks a lot more complicated than it is. We switched to OBS instead of Streamlabs. Firstly, we didn't want to pay the premium for Streamlabs. And then secondly, Streamlabs had gotten into had done some like dubious stuff with the namesake of OBS. And because they did, we decided to, just for our tastes, we wanted to move over to OBS. So OBS has done some really awesome, they made some really big improvements on everything. And the setup is really nice and very expeditious, and just, you can color correct it and all this other stuff if you want. But basically, this is what we've been using the entire time, is OBS, and then we have all of our scenes and our sources. And it looks super complicated. It's really easy, but it does look a lot worse than it really is. And that's really just all we use. But one of the things we started doing with the plugins is I was using an audio, yeah. So the biggest thing for me, and this is where it came in for me, was I want to say an audiophile, but I don't think anybody else is, like, I'm real critical on mine. I'm not critical on everybody else. If I can understand what you're saying, if I can hear you, I don't really care all that much, especially if I like your content, which in this case, yeah, I do. It's so much simplified on the console, man. I definitely need to figure all this out for the future. Well, I'll make this, and I mean, like I said, I love having you here, and I love getting to interact with you and get to talk with you, and I'll go through kind of what we're doing, but at the same time, it's going to be up for however long you need it, and same situation. You can always reach out to me via Discord or whatever, and I'll go through it with you. I mean, I'll whatever questions you have, I'll do the same thing and just go through it with you. I'm very patient. It's not going to bother me one bit. So my audio is 50-50. How do you mean? So what I was saying for audio, when it comes to audio doesn't bother me if I like the content, so long as I can understand what you're saying and it doesn't have a lot of hiss, you know. But like, I'm not going to be overly critical. My audio, I want to be perfect, and I know it's not. I know even right now it may sound okay, but I'm going to listen back and I'm going to be like, you know, I wish I would have had this, or I wish I would have had that. So what I did start doing that I thought was really cool is I started implementing Reaper plugins again. And I'd kind of gotten confusing. I was using like a bunch of Tokyo Dawn plugins, which are also free, by the way, and super cool. But they were causing some really weird compression on I guess the way that I had this. So, and please forgive if you hear the vibrating. It's my phone. I'll explain that in a second because that's part of the tech. But I did actually start going to... thank you so much. I worked hard to get from 0 to 600, and I'm on my way to 7 and onward. No, I know, and congratulations on that. It's insane. I did see that. I did leave you a like on that as well, because I saw the video you had made concerning that. And yeah, you're definitely well on your way to 700. So congratulations for that, and obviously well wishes to your 700th subscriber. Hopefully, at some point in time, I will get to some number near that. But for right now, I'm at like 130 something, and you know what? That's fine. I didn't do this for the subscribers any which way. I kind of just did it as a catharsis, and I did it to share what I like and what I'm passionate about with great people. And I was fortunate enough to meet great people and make great friends too. So that's awesome. I use OBS as well to make my YouTube videos and to stream. Very nice. All right. Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, I've seen some of your stuff for sure, and it's pretty interesting. So Retro did it for the money, and no, I haven't. As far as I know, I haven't really made a lot of money or any money really on YouTube. Well, I guess I've made some money doing some stuff, but not really a lot. It's not been that, and it didn't do it for the latter. I'm married, and my wife would not appreciate that. But she is the sweetest. She would definitely have appreciated that comment. I'll move over to my filters real quick. I started using these filters, and they're super simple. I started using... I only use 2 Reaper plugins, and I put them in the description, by the way, if you're looking for just stuff to make the audio just that much better. They're free. They're completely free. The gain... Let's see. I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I love it as a hobby and share. Yeah, and that's why I think I'm not going to say anybody should do anything for any reason. That's up to you. Okay. So I don't know if he may have been talking about you. I thought he might have been talking about me. I'm also retro, but I'm at the retro room. So I'm thinking. I thought Ash might probably have been talking about me, but he may have also been talking about you, so I apologize. But yeah, no, it definitely shows that you enjoy it. That your videos show that very well. So, okay, yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that, Retro Gaming Hero. He was talking about me. I forget you're also Retro for short, and I'm Retro for short, so I do apologize. He's like comes here and he's like, oh, the presumptions have been made. That's kind of what I figured, but I shouldn't jump to the assumption that when Retro has said that it's me, but I do that just because it's happened for a little while. Okay, with filters I've moved to Reaper for just being 2 of them. I'm using one called Refear, which I really like. And here's what it does. This is a reverse. Well, there goes my new channel name. I was going to call myself the Retro Hero Room of Game. And then was it going to have a number in there by chance, a 26 or? Real quick question to the side. Retro Gaming Hero 26. Can I ask, why 26? Is it just a favorite number? Is it if you don't want to say, then that's okay too. I'm just curious as to the number's significance. And that's the number. I knew the minute I asked I shouldn't. That's the number I was gonna get. I didn't put a number in mind just because if it were my favorite number, then it's 13, and that's all over the place. And then if it were my age, then it would change every year anyway. So I didn't put my age. Well, I'm not old, but I'm also not, I'm not in my 20s. I'm not super young myself. And so when you start getting to there gets to be a point where you start getting birthdays and you're less excited to see that number go up, let's say. So, and I've said it before, I'm chronophobic. I don't like the idea of getting older, even though I know you have to. That scares me. So, that's just my personal opinion for me. Nothing else, if anyone else is. I'll jump over. Let's be honest. It's 58, but doesn't look as over. It's funny you say that too, because a lot of people have been super kind to my job, and to say that I look super young. But they have also made the point to. Point. I have gray hairs, white hairs in my beard, and they've definitely made that point of, hey, you got a gray stripe coming on in here, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want that. And I feel great. I feel super good, but. I do have gray in my beard, sadly. By the way, really quickly, if I can say this, Ash, I saw your apology video for Matt, and that made me laugh so hard. So I wanted to convey to you how much joy that brought me. I look way older than 30. I think I got 50 shades of gray in my. I don't think you look old at all, though. It's just me personally. Yeah, I don't think you look old at all. You do. Admittedly remind me a lot of myself, although you are infinitely more funny. You do remind me a lot of myself. I mean, you've seen me in the Mechanos Cards video, but you remind. I think I might be a smidge heftier, perhaps, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't think you look super old. I think you look mature, but I don't think you look super old. If that's fair to say. We're gifted. Hey, you know what? That's a great way to say it. That's true. That's very true. I like that. I really like that, actually. I like that way of looking at things. So, yeah, I'm a big guy, but I enjoy it. I'll jump back to this real quick because I don't want to get way off. I'm having fun with everybody, but I also want to jump in here and make sure I'm doing what I said I was going to do as well for anyone who watches this after the fact. So I'll jump back and forth if I may, just for a minute. This is the Reefer, and it's by a company called Kakos Incorporated. They make Reaper. These plugins are completely free. There is a link in the description. I'm not sponsored, and I don't get any money from them because they're free. They're not making any money as well. This is a really cool. This is a reverse EQ, and what it is I turn it to precise. This size being copy this right here, and I turn it to subtract. And what this does, I'm going to be quiet for just a second, and you're not going to hear really anything. You're going to hear music, and I'm going to actually mute the music actually for just a minute. So 1 second, please. There we go. Because it's going through my mixer as well. And so what I did there is it does it automatically. It's super easy. You don't have to know anything about it. You turn all your sounds off, make sure your microphone's turned on, and this little red line is all of the ambient noise in the room. Air conditioners, fans, anything. Hit this little button that says automatically build a noise profile, and if you turn that on, these little red lines will go up. When they stop kind of going up, you just unclick it and they freeze in place where they are, and now you have a perfect for your room noise cancellation. It'll get rid of all of those little hisses, or most of it. It'll get rid of most of the little hisses that you have, and the fan noise, and the air conditioner, outside noise, all that kind of good stuff. It does a really good job of that. Music covers up the rest, and the game will cover up the rest, but this is actually a super handy tool. So if you're having trouble with mic noise or room noise, pop in Reefer, put it at the top of your audio stack. That's where I have it. It's the first thing right here. And it will listen to your audio, and it will eliminate all of these random room noises that are coming up. And your voice's definition will still come above that. So you can see I'm not cutting where my voice is coming out. I'm cutting a little maybe here, but all of this is where I'm still speaking. It's not cutting all that out. Really handy, super easy to use, and incredibly free. I also learned something I didn't know with microphones, and that's the thing, because I love microphones, is my microphone is now turned, it used to be turned up like 60-70%. It's now turned to about 45%. And then I just add the gain digitally. I'm adding 10 decibels of gain. And the reason that is because if I get super loud, I can actually hard cut that off. I'll show you that in a minute. So I can never get too loud for my microphone and clip. And even now, as loud as it looks like I am, I'll lower it here. You can see I'm going all the way up to that little 0, all the way to where that red is, but the red bar on the right is not actually lighting up. I'm not clipping. I'm hitting the loudest possible note I can hit without clipping the audio, because I'm digitally adding the gain instead of having it added in the hardware. I do use an expander. This looks really complicated, honestly. This is just the one built into OBS. And with the expander, I'm just using it to make my voice sound more dynamic and make it louder. That's more complicated. And if anyone's interested in an in-depth as to where I got these numbers from, I can give that. But for now, this is just to show you I'm using the in-board expander. This is where I'm using the Reaper plugin, the EQ. And this is what I found worked for my voice. I think this is what I had last time. They have a really nice EQ, and a lot of EQs out there now are like $60, $70. Some of the big ones are even like $300 and $400, and they'll let you add however many bands you want. But most of the free ones are like, hey, you can add 4 bands, or this is a 3-band EQ. Sometimes you might even find a 5-band EQ. But this one, I can add as many bands as I want to, remove as many bands as I want to, and put those dots exactly where I want them. And this is what I find flatters my voice. A little bit of bass boost, a little bit of cutting it where the mud is, and then a little bit of boost in the brightness. It's going to differ, and yet again, if you want an in-depth tutorial or something like this for what exactly works, it would be different from voice to voice, but this is what works for my voice. Works okay for Anna's too, because we do have to kind of compromise a little bit. Her voice is also in this range right here, so we've cut all the nasty out of there. After that, we use the compressor just to make sure our loud noise... I am using Reaper compressor, I apologize. Same situation though with Reaper compressor. All I'm doing is making sure that my loud noises and my quiet noises are close together. So if I kind of whisper like this, you can tell it's quieter, but it's still audible. And if I start to talk a lot louder like this, it's loud, but it's not clipping and distorting. You can hear me just fine. So I'm just bringing those together, and you can actually see right here. You can actually see what's being done, and you can see where I've added some gain. That's that additional gain on the compressor there. That's all that does. And the limiter, last thing, I'm limiting everything to -1, which is just before clipping, and 60 millisecond release so that it doesn't sound unnatural and robotic. But yeah, so I can yell right now if I wanted to. I could get a little louder, and I'm still not clipping. And I could get way quieter, and I'm not doing anything wrong. It's not clipping. It's not doing anything bad. So that's all I'm using now. I'm using OBS. It's all free. The plugins are all free. Why not? I mean, like, so cool. I did also bring up the equipment that I'm using, so I'll put it over here. Well, I brought it up, but maybe... Oh, there it is. Okay, it's here. I'll come over here and show... So I actually bought one of these Wave 3 microphones for anybody who's interested in the digital. I bought one of these from a Best Buy. Now available in white. Ah, dang it. I wish I would have known. That looks like a Stormtrooper. I like that. This thing sounds really good. It's got a lot of really cool plugins to it, but then it's also super easy to plug and play. And one of the things I really like about this microphone, I brought it with... Excuse me, I got the hiccups. I brought it with me on a trip, and I was using it for a conference call, and it automatically detected so I didn't have to dial it in. It automatically detected where the volume needed to be for my voice. So if I got really close to the microphone, it would turn me down to maybe like 4 of the, you can see the little notches there. And the way that they work is if you push the volume button in, it will switch between the modes, the microphone mode, the headphone mode, and then how you're hearing it back in terms of your earphones, in terms of voice versus in call, I think is how it works. I think it's what's going into the microphone versus hearing what's coming out of the computer. And there's a jack in the back for the headphones. And then when I started speaking, it would turn me down automatically to 4 notches, or 4 of those 7 little white dots, and say, no, this is loud enough. You're close enough to the mic that this is loud enough. And if I started to get quiet, it would turn me up to 5, and it would be like, oh no, that's where your voice is. That's where your voice needs to be. It's super awesome. I mean, it really does a great job of filtering out noise. It doesn't make a lot of self noise itself. It helps automatically adjust. It's got a little mute button on the top that's kind of a touch panel, and I like that. It's super handy. I really like this microphone. So if anybody's going USB, this thing's awesome. It is. I have now tested it for a while. I've owned it for 3 or 4 months. I've tested it under multiple occasions, conference calls, recording videos or things for videos, doing voiceover, doing a live stream. In all cases, it's done nothing but exactly what it advertised it would do, which is all things audio. And it does a great job. So it is a little expensive. It's $150, but you plug it straight in, it works wonderfully. And I do believe it works with Consoles Direct as well. You can just choose it as your predominant mic. So really freaking cool. I do usually recommend XLR microphones, and I don't ask for people to spend an arm and a leg when they do it. So the one that I usually recommend is the Blue Ember. It's $100. It's a really cool looking little microphone. I actually did a test on my previous stream where I showed that you could make it sound about as good as an $1,100 microphone that I have. And it does exactly that. It sounds probably 85-90% as good as that, and it's super affordable. And I like to plug that in to the Scarlett Solo, and that's also, again, that's $100. So the Wave 3 is $150 versus an XLR microphone with a good interface, which is $200. So the difference is only $50 one way or the other. XLR, a little bit more isolated in terms of cable noise, in terms of device noise. They're made to do only that, whereas microphones can kind of be, USB-wise, can be a little bit more versatile in terms of data and in terms of digital interfaces. So that's usually what I recommend when it comes to XLR for a starter. I don't like the Audio-Technica AT2020 as much as the Blue Ember, and so that's why I'm making the recommendation. But I think this is $99.99 US. This, of course, is $99.99 US, and I do like Blue products. I actually own one of the ones that I use for another. Let's see if they have it. One of the ones I use for another video thing. I use this one. Here it is. Boop. Make sure it's the right one. Yeah. Bluebird. This is an expensive microphone. I didn't buy it for this price. I got Honey. Yay. I'm not sponsored again by them, so, you know. But like this one right here, this one's awesome. This one sounds super good. If you have a deep voice, this one does a really good job of getting that mud out of there, that bass, and giving you just enough bass, but also brightening the voice. And it's really pretty. Like, this is a really pretty microphone. I like this one for music more than I like it for the vocals, but it works really well with vocals too. It's very, very nice. Anyway, so showing that off. What I will show are the microphones that I'm using for the Retro Room channel right now. And those are these. These are the AKG C214 microphones. They're the little brothers to some of the industry standards. These are awesome. I love these microphones. I did not pay the near $500 you're seeing there, and I don't recommend you do either. You can buy them on. You can get them at pawn shops. You can buy them on eBay. You can buy them on Mercari. Most of them you can literally find them for like $100 to $200. And I think I found both of mine together for like $70. So, like, if you hunt, they're out there. But they sound really nice. I mean, that's what you're hearing me talking to right now. And sounds really good. At least I think it does. You guys are going to be a better judge of that than I am. I do still have if anyone's curious, they say, oh, you use the super expensive mic. I do. I still use that one, but I'm using it for something else right now. And I actually have 2 of these, and because I have 2 of these, I wanted my microphone and Anna's microphone to be the same, so our EQing would be a little bit closer. And this does a really good job of that, since we have 2. They sound really good. They're also really pretty. We're hooking into this bad boy here. They don't make these anymore, but I just wanted to show you what they look like. This is the PV-20. It is 16 XLR inputs. We had an episode where we had like 8 people at one point, and I had the interface I had only had 4 inputs, and I said no, never again. I want to have it so that I can cover all of my friends. All my friends can come in, and so even if I did all 8 of us, then we still have 8 more of these open up and ready to go. So, let me X out of that real quick. It was a Coral Painter update that I had, so I also don't know why they always do this little up-down like thing, because this would be fine if this was all one interface and you were EQing. It's not. These are just this strip right here all pertains to one thing. So basically, whatever's plugged into microphone port number 4 is really loud, and whatever is plugged into microphone port number 2 is really quiet. That's really all this is. I don't know why they decided this was what they needed to do with it. I've never understood why they think that's what you need to do. I mean, this is a great little EQ. Well, it's not even a good EQ pattern, honestly. So, any which way. It does really good. And the reason we do it is because we can actually hook our game audio in here. My PC audio is coming into one of these. My game audio is coming down here. And then I can see everything here. And then I can actually... Our microphones are in ports 15 and 16. So I can dial that in here. And it's just super easy to use. Like, it's really nice. My music's on this little port here, and I turn that up. So, I mean, like, it's just super easy to use. And it looks overwhelming, but literally everything that is in the little white line, it's literally that. Like, this is the input, volume, EQ, monitor, which we're not doing. And then how loud do you want the microphone to be, and do you want it to just be in the left ear or the right ear, and then that just mutes it. Like, it's super easy. They just put a whole bunch of those strips together, and then you got a couple of these to make some, like, speakers. Anyway, it's what we use. They don't make them anymore, but they do make a Yamaha version. I think that's really good, too. It's kind of expensive, though. So, yeah. So, that's what we're doing for a lot of the... Is it still open? I hope it's still open. It should be. So those are things we had to pay for. Obviously, I did pay for the Wave 3. I did buy a Blue. I did buy a Bluebird. I bought an Ember. I did have, I had to pay for these things, but they don't have to be paid full price. And even still, if you're just looking to drop the investment, the Wave 3 is just fine. Like, it's super good. It's easy to deal with. Yeah. But these are just what we're using right now, just because this is what we like. What I was going to jump into as far as audio also is the music that we use, because the music we use is completely free, and it doesn't get copyright. It won't get copyright strikes ever, according to the creators, and it's really nice. And if it's my mood, I like the lo-fi, personally. So, but it is this. It's just Streambeats. Streambeats.com. It's made by a guy named Harris Heller. He's the head of a channel called Senpai Gaming, Senpai Studios, and literally all it is you can go to listen. It may not. I don't know if it's gonna, because I know I have a lot of things open right now. But anyway, there are huge playlists, and there's lo-fi playlists, and like he's got indie pop here. He's got Christmas or Xmas or whatever. And you can literally just play them, and they're completely copyright free. And I like them. I like them a lot. So it's just, and you don't have to come to streambeats.com if you have a Spotify, or if you have Amazon Prime or any of the streaming services for music. You just look up Streambeats, or you look up Harris Heller, and he'll pop right up, and there's like 2,000 songs or something like that. But I like the lo-fi ones, so mine is narrowed down to like 800 songs that I like to put on cycle. like this kind of softer aesthetic. I say aesthetic, you can't really see it, but this kind of softer, you know, feel. So, real quick, also, we do use these little guys. I was going to show that. It's not mic phones. We're using Altron PF8 specifically, but either way, we use these to keep the microphone room noise quiet. It works really well. If on USB mics, I mean, you can see down here they're using a USB mic. These are really good. They just make your audio sound. It makes your room noise. It kind of cuts down your room noise when you can't properly treat your room. And we can't properly treat this room. It's huge and it's got all kinds of games and stuff in it. So we use this to help kind of cut down on that, on the extra noise, and they do a decent job. These are not the super expensive $200 ones. These are just like $30 to $50 a pop. These ones, the ones we got were 35, I think. These are, I think, 50. Yeah, close to 50. So, boop. All right. So we're using OBS, we're using Reaper plugins. Like I said, if you want to use the Reaper plugin, OBS is free. You can go to OBS if you want to download it. Reaper plugins are free. Same situation. I've got a link in the description down below where you can click on those and get those. And like I said, I've shown you kind of what my layout is. You can always pause and dial those in as you want to if you want to try to match what mine sounds like, bearing in mind that your voice and your microphone are going to be different than me. And so because of that, your EQ may not sound the same as you want it to. But you can play around with it live. You can actually play around with it while you hear it in your headphones and hear what you're wanting to embellish and what you're wanting to cut back on. And if you ever have questions or issues with that, you're always free to reach out and let me know, because I'm always happy to help in any way I can. But this is kind of what we're using for the streaming for the most part. And then this is another piece right here. You notice we have the logo I actually designed myself using Photoshop at the time. I designed it in 2020 and then I redesigned this one in 2021. And it's got a pink squishy and a blue squishy for me and Anna. Doesn't matter, we both like both colors. And there's a little bitty kind of purpley, kind of pink and blue squishy. That's our daughter, that's for Zeeby. She's at the center of everything. And so she was the one that actually named Squishy way back when we started the channel we started doing stuff for the channel in 2016. She's the one that named that for us. So she's hopefully I'll have more content where you get to kind of hear her thoughts. She's growing up right now. She's not and she's got she's just very insightful, very smart, and also really funny. So at some point, hopefully we can have her on to give an opinion or something, see what she says. But we'll see if she's interested in it. She may not be. Who knows? I know she played a game she was interested in that I haven't uploaded yet because I couldn't find the audio. But she wanted me to put that one up, so we'll see if I can find the audio for it and have it up. But that brings us to the visuals, and the visuals you can see we use this little piece, or you saw our stream starting screen and all that kind of good stuff. I actually do have an affiliate with these guys, and so if you click it and you get something there, great. I will get a little bit of it. But if you don't, that's okay too. But I do like them. I won't promote anything that I don't enjoy. And what I like is StreamSpell. These guys have been awesome. They have free stuff. So there is a free, I think it's a whole part of it here, right there. You can actually click, and if you click on it, there are actually free stream packages and pieces of packages that you can mix and match as you want. I'm going to go back to all collections though. And what I'm using right now is actually one of theirs called Pixel Japan that I really like. But they've got all kinds of great stuff. This is Neon Vibes. We'll just look at it. It's very similar to one of the other ones that I had used. It doesn't seem to be the same. It doesn't seem to be the same quite, but it does look very similar, does it not? Let's see. I like it a lot though. I really like this one too. I did not, the package that I had to sound a little Tommy Wiseau there. I did not. I didn't actually use this package. I used another package which was given by another creator who gave permission to use that one. So I'm wondering if this is their package revamped or something, but it's really cool. And basically when you buy the packages, you get the whole thing. So they actually give you the animation screens from, it looks like he's playing Watch Dogs. I couldn't tell. That may be what. Yeah, I think that's Watch Dogs. That's pretty cool. But you get all of the different screens. You'll get a starting soon screen, you'll get an ending screen, and you'll get an intermission screen with the little chat boxes and all that. They'll usually give you a font or a couple of fonts in there to make everything the way you want to. They'll give you overlays for your subscribers and donos and borders, and then you get transitions, and this transition happens to be, that one's really cool actually. And if you like a single aspect of it, you're not a huge fan of the entire package, but you really like, for example, I like this transition, you can go and part and parcel buy just the transition and program that in if you want to. So there's the font you would get here, and then if you wanted to make your channel banner, same situation, you get these channel banners right here that they're yours to use on your YouTube channel for free. So these are what I like to use personally. This is not the package I'm using, but and you can mix them and you can match them and you can customize them, and they give you all kinds of cool stuff. So it's really, really cool. Yet again, I'm not going to promote anything that I don't enjoy or use. I do really like these guys, but my recommendation, honestly, is go get their free stuff because it's free. Why not? Grab their free stuff, pop it into your OBS, try it out, see what you think. If you like it, great. If you want to use that and just move on that way, that's great too. And if you decide you like it enough, you want to come back and mess with some of the other stuff, yeah, then do that too. But I do have a link down in the description if you want to check them out. And like I said, I'm full disclosure, it's not sponsored by them, but if you do happen to purchase through them, through my link, I do get a little bit of a kick from that. So up to you how you want to do it. I don't want there to be any pressure at all, but I do want to be transparent. So, but I like this package. I'm actually going to look at this elements of this pack. I may just buy that transition, honestly. But yeah, I like it a lot. They've got a lot of cool ones. They've got all kinds. You can actually look for different. So here's transitions, and you can actually see the different like transitions that they have here, and you can purchase the transition separate. So it's really cool. They've got, if you're a single game streamer, they've got like God of War transitions. These go on for days. But they've got like God of War, they've got an Assassin's Creed one that's really cool. This one I like a lot too, actually. I hadn't seen this one before. So if you're a single game streamer, they actually have some really good, great game themed packages and transitions. If not, like here's a great little Castlevania. I love that. I really like that one too, because I'm a huge Castlevania. But I wanted something that fit the channel because I'm a multi-game streamer. I don't just stream one game and great at it, so. But you might be if you're a Castlevania-centric streamer, maybe you want the horde of bats that come out to the blood moon or whatever. Very, very cool. So that's what I use for the visuals when it comes to that. Now, I will be completely honest with you, when it comes to the visuals here, I obviously still use OBS. This is where things could get a little bit expensive, and that is where I use the Elgato 4K capture utility plugged into OBS. We do use the 4K 60, which is an onboard plugged into the computer video card, and then that thing is plugged into a switch of HDMI. Just a lot of HDMI wiring going on there. It's about a $60 switch called the Blackhawk, and kind of like the helicopter, right? The UH-60, but it's just HD. And you can plug in all your stuff, and then I've got a really complicated SD, retro console to HD upscaler to HD channel strip to, so the whole thing it's fairly complicated. It's not complicated when you think about it as a kind of like water tube. That's the way I always do it. But, how do I get water flowing from point A to point B if I'm hooking up multiple hoses kind of thing? But when I say it this way, super complicated. I did show how it works in my previous one. At some point I may do a diagram for anybody who wants it and put it on a thing, but for now, suffice it to say, HDMI goes in capture card and out to TV from capture card, and you can plug in anything from there. And then the 4K capture utility comes in. It's really cool because it is real time. I could actually play off of my computer monitor. I do have a secondary monitor that I play off of that is only the game, coming straight from the game console feed. But if you don't have a lot of monitors, I do recommend it. It is $180 American. But you can play straight off of your monitor. So you can actually have OBS up on your laptop computer. Let's say you're just using a laptop, playing the game on the laptop computer, and you're not having to have another television in the room. It's just playing perfectly. And it doesn't matter what you're playing. Virtual Console for Switch works just as well as Xbox Series X. Works as good as PS5. For the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, I don't actually have them in this room. I have a PS4 and a Xbox One X. So if we want to ever broadcast from the Series X or the PS5, we do use Remote Play, and then we just capture that on here, window capture it on here. And it does a great job of the same thing. You just need a good internet connection. We are hardwired. So that's all we're doing. We're just using the Remote Play utility, which is down in this mess of menu somewhere. And so we'll say Remote Play the PS5, turn the PS5 on in the living room, which is where it is. And now we can broadcast onto the PC, and we don't have any latency or lag, and then we can just window capture it. And that's why you see down here where it says PC Series X PS5. We'll just open up the remote capture utility, or the Remote Play utility of the Series X or the PS5, and then it's really just capturing my PC screen like it is right now. That's all there is to it. So, yeah, it's very simple, very, very easy to use. Since we're talking about visuals, I want to go ahead and make a quick side note, because you notice I have all of these over here, and in the middle of the game we can't always, like, I've got a lot. You take a peek at these. I've got my stream starting. I've got consoles that use the 16:9 standard aspect ratio. I've got my 4:3 cropped Wii U and native, because for whatever reason the N64 does not have a set 4:3. Different games use different aspect ratios, so this one works for some of them, and this one works for some of the other ones. But this one, when I'm using the Virtual Console sometimes, this one is the 4:3 aspect ratio that works really well. And this one also works for most of my retro consoles, though this one does work for some of them a little bit better. Ironically, same thing for GameCube. When I'm playing GameCube, I had to make a specific screen just for GameCube, because GameCube, the games are not the same size. They're big. And same thing for Genesis. We're playing on a CDX, and down here is the Genesis screen. I don't know why they did that. So these are all different aspect ratios with different frame sizes and such. But like you can see, we've got a lot of little... Oh, I'll also share with you, you haven't seen it yet, but I'll share with you the Game Boy Color screen. It's going to be blank right now because we don't have a game going, but check that out. How cool is that? Neat little, I mean, if it's too blinding, please forgive me, but it's just a little Game Boy screen that we've used with our colors, and it's called the Retro Game, and it's got our little logo where the power switch would be. And then this will be where Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy games can be played, and kind of a chill, you know, it's got kind of a Miami Vice, not Miami Vice, but like Hotline Miami, there we go. Or I guess Miami Vice. It's got that kind of an aesthetic to it, which is a little... maybe more vibrant, but yeah, it'll have the Game Boy handheld games that you'll get to see in here, and that way we're not killing the aspect ratio of them, and they should look hopefully nice and big on a phone, but I mean I understand they're smaller, but you know. But that also brings me to, I can't go, normally you notice I'm switching the screen, and you can see I'm just clicking back and forth. There we go. And so normally I would have to click back and forth and find all these, and I have this on another monitor somewhere usually. But that brings me to the next thing that I use, which I did pay for $15, but there is a free version. You may not need all the bells and whistles, and that's Touch Portal. I really like Touch Portal. You download it on your phone. It works with both Apple and Android, so it doesn't really matter which phone you have. And so you can see it's actually connected to my Note 10 Plus down here, and all of this is pretty easy. It doesn't, like, you don't have to type it in, it'll find it. And this is what my normal setup looks like, and then these are the sub menus. So for example, if I click this right now, it's just going to go into the settings for that button. I'll show you. See, now I can tell my button what to do, but I don't want to change the button, so I'm going to go ahead and click into what it would look like if I open that. And this is what I can actually see on my phone right now. I know I made it look like the LCARS because I thought it was cool. I'm a Star Trek nerd just as much, well, not as much as I am a Star Wars nerd, but LCARS is really cool. And so this is what my phone is showing me right now. Now what you can't see is Down here I can see what time it is, and down here I see today's date, day, number, date, month, and year. And then right here, I can see the frame rate. I have a frame rate button here telling me what's going on. And so, but what I can actually do is on my phone, I just touch the buttons, one of these buttons. And so, for example, when I started it, I clicked, but if I were to go to the GameCube, I can actually just touch this button on my phone, and it'll switch me over to the GameCube. And then I can touch the PC button again, and it'll switch me back over to where you can see this screen. And I have, this death counter thing here. I can hit up, and it'll give me +1, down, it'll hit -1. That Game Boy screen that I just showed you, this little button right here, all I gotta do is tap that, and it'll take us there. So this is free, but if you want the unlocked everything version, add all the buttons, $14.99 American, one time, so after taxes, whatever your tax rate is. And then, basically you end up with a really neat Stream Deck that you can add as many buttons as you want to. So each of the little menus you saw in this main area are entire sub-menus, and these buttons can get so much smaller, and there's going to be so many more. So if I go into audio, all of these can be buttons, and I can literally just keep stacking and keep building until I'm comfortable with how many options I have. Same situation with the little name tag. It does everything. If I go to scenes, you can also see tags. So when we're playing Borderlands, you see tags Siren left, tags Retro left. If I'm first player, then I'll click this one. If I'm second player, I'll click that one. That vertical border that has that really cool little glowy effect that separates our screen, that's an effect. I just tap that and it turns it on. Like, it does everything. Like I said, free. If you want the full version, get the full version. But if not, free version, and you can do... You can't have unlimited buttons, but that's about it. And most people don't really need unlimited buttons. And as many buttons as they give you automatically, like, it's worth it to just use the free one and see if you like it first. But yeah, super cool, infinitely customizable. I mean, you can literally, even if I click on the starting screen, I can literally choose the font that I want and the alignment of the text and everything. Like, I choose what it says. So I can put a background in it if I want. I can, it's just so many different things. If you're like me, you want to customize to the nth degree, this lets you do it. It does it really well. So, I really recommend it quite a lot. Yet again, I won't recommend something if I don't enjoy it. So what I guess I'm going to move to now, just really quickly, is what I'm using for the video making process, and then I'll go and share what I'm working on to look for in the future, and I'll get off, because I've been doing this for about an hour and a quarter, and I think that's a little over what I was wanting to do, but that's not bad. And I get to talk with some great people, so that's awesome too. So if you take a look over here, down here, you can see a little app I'm going to open up called Photopea. I am paying for this, but it is completely free to use. Now here's the thing. If you use the free version, there's a little ad bar right here. You don't have to click the ad, you don't have to mess with it, and it's not in the way. But if you want to pay for it, it's $30 a year, I think is what I paid. So $30 a year comes out to like $2 or something a month. And so I just paid the $30 a year, and no ads whatsoever. And I get to show support to whoever made this because it is awesome. And it was really more, I wanted to show support. It wasn't even about the ads because it's supported by the ads otherwise. But if I come in here, I'm just going to open up a project real quick. Transparent project. We're going to say Facebook image of 1920 by 1080. So most thumbnails. We're just create. I don't know about you, but this is just Photoshop. I mean, if you've used Photoshop before, you know that this is 95% Photoshop right here. Photoshop is expensive. Photoshop is $20 a month for just the program, or you can spend $60 or $70 a month, something like that, for the whole Creative Suite. So $20 a month versus $30 for a year. And like I said, you can use this completely free, unlimited. It'll have a little ad bar right here. It's a little thin bar, runs all the way up and down, ad bar. That's how they're supported if you don't want to support them. And it's just crazy. This works exactly like Photoshop does. You've got the magic wand tool. So literally every thumbnail that I've made going from pretty well when I started saying I was switching up to now has been made through this Photopea. If you are familiar with the workflow of Photoshop, if you're familiar with the keybinds of Photoshop, these are the same. You can Your Control T is still transform. You can still hold Shift and warp. You can still hold Control, and it's like I said, 95% Photoshop. For the most part, there hasn't really been anything new I've had to work on or learn, and it's awesome. It's super awesome to use. It's completely free, and like I said, you're seeing my thumbnails. My thumbnails aren't the best thumbnails ever. I get that, but at the same time, they're not bad for getting to use a free program. And I do use just so you can see, I do have a tablet PC, right? So that this is me using a pen, right? I can actually write on the thing, but which allows me some precision. But apart from that, like, this thing is literally Photoshop. And you can just bring it up. It works with Photoshop files. It exports the same way. If I do this and I do, let me go ahead and I'll just see if I can open one. Do I have one up that's ready to go, or that's my DaVinci Resolve? Do I have one in pictures? I don't have one in pictures. Okay, so maybe I don't have one straight away to show off. But at any rate, point being, is it does everything that Photoshop does. So if you're looking to make good thumbnails for videos, or if you're looking to make effects, or if you're looking to do any of that you would do in Photoshop, this will do it free, or $30 a year if you want to show them support. That brings me to the video making portion of things, which is the editing program that I've been using. It's a white icon right now because I just updated it to the newest version, but this is DaVinci. This is DaVinci Resolve, and I believe this is the iteration before the newest. It's 18, but I believe the newest iteration is 18.0.0.4, which I just downloaded, but I'm not using. And this is Squishy Bit 2, which I did I posted it months ago, I think. It was where I had these little things. There was a general store owner named Matt. So the workflow, I love this. This is super easy to use. I came from Adobe Audition. I'm sorry, not Audition, excuse me, Premiere. And the workflow on this, you can tell it you come from Premiere. It'll keep those keybinds, or it'll help keep that workflow for you. It'll make it a little bit easier. And then you can see it's very your workflow is, I have a hidden taskbar, but the workflow is right here at the bottom. And so you've got your import, all of the stuff. These are my imported, you have to forgive the noise there, but the imported video. Then you have your editing, your timeline, right? So we have and you'll hear the audio.
They make my eyes look like Satan.
So you've got your timeline there. Next we have our editing, where we can actually check our tracks and do our editing. And you can see all the different editing and such that I've done here. And notice that when I was doing, even when I was doing the edits on some of this stuff, it was awesome because, I'll move it. But you notice I'm doing the zooming, and I put the Z's in there where you see, it works the exact same way as Premiere. Again, another Adobe, I'm not bashing on Adobe. Adobe's got great stuff. But a lot of people can't afford the Adobe stuff. I can't afford to sustain almost $100 a month to use 3 or 4 programs. I'm not a professional. And so being able to come in and use these other programs is great. So this is DaVinci Resolve. Then down here we have our, I think this is our effects, transitions, etc. Yep. So we can see all of this right here, which I don't really think I've ever used. Color correction, which is what DaVinci is supposed to be for, I have not used either, because most of my stuff was, there's not a lot of color here. There's a red, some brown, it's not, And then you have your audio fix at the end here, where you can tell it exactly what you want to sound like what, how loud, transitions, etc. And then the end is your export. So your workflow is perfectly right there. Just click on one icon, get all that in line, and then go to the next icon. And then you can see right here on my export, I chose what I wanted, and it has a button right there. It says YouTube 1080. Is that what you want? You can literally click it and say, no, I really want YouTube 4K. I want YouTube 2160p. And it tells you, okay, well, here's the frame rate. Here's what that would look like. And boom, you now, I didn't capture this in 4K, so it wouldn't really make sense to do this, but yeah, if I wanted to do that, you just drop it down, tell it what your resolution is, it will tell you where you need to be, and then you just tap render, add to render queue, and then you come and you render it, and you've got a full video ready to go. This program, all of the things that I've just shown you with this program are free. You can download it right now at DaVinci, at Blackmagic Design, I think is what it's called, but you can just search DaVinci Resolve. You can download this, and it's a free editing program. You can pay for a pro version, which I have not yet done. I will probably, just because I want to support these guys. But the program, I think, is $300 if you want to pay and support them. And I believe there are some extra pro features that come out with it. But these guys make their money in the actual hardware, the physical controllers for these editing softwares. And I don't really have one of those. I do kind of want to get one. I think I found one I could get for as little as $120. That I'm like, okay, I might try to do this because it's really cool. And it would make editing a little bit quicker. It's got like the editing wheel on it where you can spin it and it'll take you through the thing. But anyway, point being, but for now, like, this is absolutely free. Everything that I've done, and you guys have seen the Squidgy videos, and you've seen how, and any of the issues you've seen with the audio mix and such, those are my fault. But if you take a look at the videos and you look at the quality and you're like, oh, these are nice, the quality's nice, or he did a cool little zoom there, it was kind of funny. You take a look at that, that's all done in DaVinci. It's free, but it's not feature poor. Like, it's got everything that I would use in any other editing software. So if I can coerce anyone to drop the subscription and pick up this, to save that extra money, I absolutely would. Because you'll see here, you can see all the little cuts I've made. I'll show you just this little snippet. The whole thing, I think, is only a minute. Yeah, it's a minute one. So, but...
Good luck. You have a long and difficult...
And you're hearing stuttering in the audio right now because I've got a lot of audio things running, so I'm going to just turn it off so you don't hear it. But you'll see, like, you can see I had the zoom in where he's gone to sleep, and then that's because I'm snoring at that point, and then I have a zoom out, zoom in where he's talking, and then zooms out to see him again. And when he introduces himself as Matt at the very beginning, it has a little tilt. I mean, it's super simple. So yeah, I've got a lot of things running right now, so I apologize if you're seeing a little lag and latency. If you do happen to be interested in Squidgy Bits, they are on the channel. They're just little shorts, and you can take a peek at it if you'd like. But I introduced him. You can see, like, little tilts, little simple stuff like that. But you can also do much more complicated stuff if you want to. Like, there's the text, there's the audio, there's, it's really good. Completely free. Costs $0 and 0 cents. So I'm gonna go ahead and close the program. Go back to OBS. So now, if you have a microphone, your editing software can be free, your capture software can be free, the mastering of your audio, the plugins you're using to make the stream sound good and the videos sound good are free. Literally, the only thing that really isn't free is the hardware you're using. The microphone that you're using itself is probably not going to be free unless you're given or gifted one. Stuff like that. But ultimately, this is a really good, I'm hoping that this will be a really good place for people to be able to see what they can do to get the same quality and decrease their monthly costs and decrease their prices and all that kind of good stuff. Because this is just OBS, all of this stuff, as hopefully professional as we try to come across. I guess there is one other thing, though, too, that I want to go ahead and make a mention to, because this is saving the life of any issue that we would have with balancing the audio. And I think I'm going to actually have to come over to a screen that doesn't have... Let me see here. I'm going to see if I can do it. I may not be able to. I may not be able to, but we started using, we started using side chaining and ducking in our mixes, basically. Let me take a look really quickly. I'm going to come over here. You're not going to see anything. You're just going to see a screen that says Elgato no signal with the borders. And I'm actually going to I can actually turn the borders off with those buttons that I was talking about earlier. And if I come over, I'm going to see if it's I think it's under Elgato, so if it is, I'm going to have to, I can't show it to you. But let me see. I don't see it. So it may not be, who knows. It may just be in the game audio itself. Honestly. Yeah, it is. It's in the game audio. Let me see if it'll let me switch back while I have this game audio one up. It will. Cool. So this is the game audio. This is the game audio filter, which comes. This is the audio from the Elgato, which is what we're capturing our audio from. But this is a thing that you can do that's super easy and super awesome, and it helps balance out the music super well. Right now, I'm not using it on the music. Rather, it helps balance the game audio. But if you come in and you add to your game audio this audio video filter, and you're going to add it, I call it ducking. But if you go into the actual filter, it's I believe it's under compressor, if I'm not mistaken. It is, it's compressor. So you click on compressor. I named it ducking. And I've set it here, but basically what it does is when the game audio is playing, you hear the game audio if I'm not speaking. But when I start speaking, my voice is coming from the mixer, sidechain ducking. When I start speaking, the game audio automatically knocks itself down 6-to-1. So for every decibel I'm loud, it becomes 6 decibels more quiet. For every decibel I am over a certain threshold, it becomes 6 decibels more quiet. So if I get quiet and I start concentrating on what I'm doing, all of a sudden, you can hear the game music really well and super loud. But if I start talking and I'm trying to explain something about the game, now the game's going to be quiet enough to give me room to speak, but you're still going to be able to hear it in the background. This has saved our bacon multiple times because you don't actually have to manually balance it every time. You just talk like normal, and then the worst comes to worst, your music is still super loud. You drag the slider down a little bit, and then the ducking still works. It's just the same, so you just turn your game slider down a little bit, and now all of a sudden your ducking's still working because now your music's balanced. You just talk and it becomes quieter. You don't talk, the music becomes louder. This is, like I said, this is awesome. If you're streaming, I think this is a must-have because I have those moments where I'm focused and the music is just, super quiet and it's just this quiet awkwardness. But if you put this on, when I stop talking, all of a sudden the game audio raises up, it becomes nice and audible. And maybe it's awesome, maybe it's really good music. And if I'm talking, then all of a sudden that music's still quiet enough that I can speak, but you can hear it. It's just amazing. So these are the settings that I'm using for it. You don't have to. You may want to play with them for yours, but you can copy these if you want to and see if they're a good starting point for you. Ultimately, though, this is like the God tool in my opinion. Anytime you hear, if you give it a listen to the previous few videos we've had where Anna and I are talking and the music is super quiet, and then all of a sudden we stop talking for a minute to focus on something, and then the audio from the game gets louder. Borderlands, I think we quieted it a little bit so that you can hear the story. Same situation. Notice how the story gets louder, then we start talking and the story mutes itself a little bit, and then same situation. We're not having to switch anything or slide any bars. It's just when we start talking, all of a sudden that's what's happening. So I highly recommend, if you get a chance to balance it, this is the thing that I would recommend over anything. And it's free. It's built into OBS or Streamlabs. You literally just click into the audio filters or your filters for your game, and up here where it says audio video, you add it. Game limiter is something I was working on for the voice, so I'm hoping that that'll be, when somebody's virtually on, I'm hoping that that'll be better. But for now, just the ducking is awesome. You don't have to balance a stream again. It's done for you through the ducking. So. But any which way, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop off. I'm going to go ahead and tap the ending. I gotta remember where I put it. I never remember where I put it. It's right there. So I'm going to tap the ending button and just say, I've shared all of the secrets of what I'm using. Now, yet again, this is not for me to tell you how you can be better. If you see tools that you see that I am using that you feel are useful to you, could be useful to you, maybe it's something you're already using but you weren't using in that way, or something that you weren't using as a part of something you were, like the ducking for OBS, definitely feel free to snag it, use it for your stream, see if it's something that helps make your stuff sound better, look better, feel better. And on the other side of things, if you have questions about it or something that you might be interested in learning more about, or you have something that I missed or that I should consider because I'm not using it, please feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you think about it. Because yet again, I'm going to get better by learning from you guys as much as I am from any other place. And I'm trying to implement everything that I can, but there's just not enough, there's just not enough time. You guys are going to be able to help me orientate in the appropriate direction if I am, kind of straying off the path. So, but this is what I'm using right now. This is what I do. This is what I use. It's what I enjoy, and I think it sounds pretty good. Everything's been pretty good recently when it comes to the gameplay audio. Next week, we should be back with gameplay. It'll either be Star Wars or a random retro, just depending on the mood. I'm in a super Star Wars mood, so that's going to be the last thing I'm going to make mention of is what I'm up to right now. Number one, obviously, we're going to continue to stream games, but I am working on a couple of other projects as well. So firstly, I've become very active on TikTok with my cards. It is Mekanos Cards. There's a channel as well, YouTube Mekanos Cards. That's Mekanos Kards. And on YouTube, there are some shorts. TikTok, it's the same name, where I do card subterfuge, cheats, magic tricks, the whole 9 yards. They're not the kiddie type of tricks. They're definitely... they might be kind of tough for a kid to, and when I say kiddie, I don't mean that derogatorily. It's just some of the tricks could be difficult for younger audiences to follow. Some of them are not. Some of them are super easy to follow. If you're interested in seeing that kind of stuff in short format, or you don't have the time to invest in a full video, definitely feel free to take a look at the TikToks or the shorts there, because I hope you'll find something interesting. They are shot in black and white as an active choice too, so if anyone is confused, it's not that I haven't figured out how to get the color to go on there. It's just it's a choice artistically as well as for some other reasons. Number two, namely, I don't know how to color correct super well yet, so I'm working on that with live video. I can do it with games, but live video is a lot different. Number two is I am working on a couple of additional projects that are additional channels or channel tangents, one of which is a as of yet unnamed Star Wars channel, where I'll be talking about random Star Wars lore, knowledge, etc., because I love Star Wars and there's a lot of Star Wars stuff going on right now that is awesome. And number two is another thing that I'm working on called Speak of the Devil, and it is kind of top secret right now, apart from that I'm doing it. So if you're interested in seeing any of those things, feel free to keep an eye on this channel or the Mekanos Cards channel, as I likely will start giving additional informations here and there on both of those channels. And yeah, that's basically what I'm looking to try and do. So again, I want to say thank you for everybody who stopped in here. Of course, a big thanks to Ash, and thanks to anybody who stops in afterwards, but thanks to the the Retro Gaming Hero 26 and to Game Talk for stopping in live and getting to talk with me. And like I said, a huge thanks to anybody who stops in after the fact. Of course, yet again, ask questions, tell me where I messed up, whatever it might be, in the comments below. Let me know what's going on. Like I said, otherwise, we will see you guys next week on another gaming stream, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you later.